Welcome to Happily Ever Aftermath.
The podcast where we discuss relationships in movies and our relationships with them.
I'm Polina Grenville.
And I'm Diana Rojek-Sconard.
Hello, Diana.
Polina, even though we're recording in our own separate homes right now, I'm going to keep 6 feet away from my laptop just to be safe.
I am too. And I washed my hands for 20 seconds. I hit the nails, the thumbs, a little bit of the wrists. So I feel like we're practicing safe podcasting.
Safe podcasting right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're following all the California guidelines and orders. I feel good about this.
I do too. And I feel good about this movie that we're watching.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm actually I picked this, before sort of a lot of things happened, and I was just so relieved I didn't pick another one of my super, super dark movies.
I will admit that I had heard of it before. I knew something about maybe the music, but as I was watching, I'm like, all right, we're about 45 minutes in now. If a relationship is not introduced, I'm going to be really confused.
I definitely had a moment when I was watching it where I thought, did I get this movie confused with another movie? Because this kid part is going on for a really long time. And I was remembering scenes that had romance in them.
Yep.
And I was like, what if I'm misremembering? Because this happens to me a lot, what if I confuse 3 other movies and put them in?
Oh, wow. So, it's in the beginning, I'm like, okay, so maybe this is about the long-lasting love between a woman who has to raise children while her husband's away at war. Oh, well, maybe she has to accept the fact that her husband is gone and she's going to fall in love with the wonderful man who decided to, treat the children so kindly. Oh, he has a wife. Okay, well, maybe this movie is, I'm just going to watch this movie, and then if it turns out that there's credits and nothing happens, then I can just be upset.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can punish me in it, but that's the other good thing is I was like, well, Diana can't can't whack me upside the head because we're not allowed to be in the same location. So I was like, I'm in the clear. I literally was like, I'll just talk about the relationship between the projectionist and the young upstart, and the 7-year-old child. That is what I'll do. That's a romance. There's something there.
I owe you one going upside Polina's head while we are back in the same room. Got it. I'm writing all this down.
But a love story did emerge. So
it did, and it was pretty cool. I had to hop on IMDb afterwards because I'm just like, all right, I know that actor is not Danny Nucci, but who is this actor that I keep staring at him that he is so familiar? So why don't you jump right in?
So really quick. So we're doing Cinema Paradiso, or Paradiso, 1988. I'm so sorry for anybody, everyone, from Sicily. I'm going to butcher everything, and I am so sorry. I really apologize.
Just don't jump into Don't jump into a horrible Italian stereotype, and I think you'll be okay.
Yeah, I will not do Shipway D, but I will, I will, but if I do, then you guys can come on and do a movie and butcher Russian. In recompense, basically, Cinema Paradiso is, basically tells the story of a young boy's, love affair with film, and this lovely old theater that he ends up spending a lot of time in, and the projectionist with whom he develops a really lovely kind of fatherly relationship. Toto is played by Marco Leonardi, and then also by Salvatore Cascio. Marco Leonardi when he's older and Salvatore Cascio when he's younger.
Well, to be fair, there's three versions. There's
you're right.
There's young, teenage. There's like 5-year-old, teenager, and then like.
Oh yeah, Jacques Perrin. Yeah, so some of the movie takes place in flashback, and the older Salvatore or Toro, as he's called, is Jacques Perrin. And anyway, so also his mom is played by Antonella. Hold on, I am so sorry. I have to increase her name. Attili. And the love of which we speak is played by Agnese Nano, who plays his love interest. Okay, so and his mother is also played when she's older by Pupella Maggio. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I've gotten. And I'm sorry. The most important thing is this lovely avuncular, projectionist that he ends up developing such a close relationship with is Philippe Noiret.
We're just gonna call him Alfredo.
We're gonna call him Alfredo, though. Okay, so let's begin. So I saw this movie. Is my movie. I saw it in the theater. I don't really remember who I saw it with. I know I've seen this movie with my parents more than once, maybe even. And I know I've seen it with several friends. This was definitely a big movie among a lot of my friends. I was a teenager when it came out, probably 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it won best. I think it has an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film.
Correct.
It does. And actually, I don't know, I saw it on Amazon Prime and it was 3 minutes, or felt like 3 minutes of just accolades for this movie, which actually I found kind of annoying after a while. I'm like, I get it. It's Miramax. It's prestige cinema. Okay, I see. Anyway, so
you are not impressed by the things that are impressive.
I am super happy that this movie got it. It's just I was like, okay, I just want to watch the movie. So that is so that's when I saw it. Did you have any previous experience with it?
No, the most that I really knew about this movie is in my teenage years, before there was Shazam or any type of Google help to figure out what songs were the ones that were stuck in my head. I was really into movie scores and soundtracks. And let me tell you that when there are no lyrics, it made it really difficult to figure out what was what. So I would rely I would rely on these not chat groups, but forums to go in to say all right, does anyone know the music, the instrumental music from the beginning of the trailer for the movie Dave, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And fortunately that was in the movie, so I was able to get the Dave soundtrack and do that. So, but this one came up a lot, and I'm just I don't know what this is, but I'll come back to it later. And I thought about hitting the soundtrack to see if it had appeared anywhere else, or maybe watch the trailer, but I didn't want to watch the trailer in case it gave anything away. So, because you know what?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Oh my God. It was why bother seeing the movie?
Exactly.
Honestly.
We, the first time I ever watched The Princess Bride with Ryan, I'm like, ooh, special features. Let's watch the trailer before we watch the movie. And it just gave away everything. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
You want to watch it now?
Sean refuses to watch any Next Up or ever on anything we watch ever.
Oh yeah, no, I high five him because I'm there. I'm just like, no. We can watch previously on, but
never future. Yeah, and actually some, how because we're watching things so remotely, like sometimes, you know, you put your phone like down in another room. And so like, there's a lot of in our house going, la, 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 I'm not looking. You find your phone really quick. So
I did that in the movie theater when a Star Wars trailer came up.
Oh, they kill me. Anyway,
I'm like,
please
well,
stop
okay.
doing that. I mean, I think people are listening a little more, but still, I'm like, why bother? So anyway, yeah, actually, the soundtrack. I remember a lot of people own the soundtrack, and I remember actually like, you know, it was a lot of people's like study soundtrack or like,
Wow,
you know, chilling out soundtrack or something. I just remember that being a big like. But even when I went to college, that was definitely like, okay, we both have to focus. Let's put this soundtrack on.
Well, the composer, as lovingly referenced to in our previous episode, The Holiday, Ennio Morricone.
Yes.
Yeah. As said by the way Jack Black said
it. You did an excellent job. I'm not going to even try.
Thank you. The one quarter Italian in me.
There we go. I got nothing. I got none. I lived in Italy. That's all I got. And I didn't learn. My accent didn't get any better.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Cinema Paradiso, it's funny rewatching this movie. I definitely felt like I don't remember. I remember there was like a lot of kids stuff, but I kind of realized that like, basically, to me, the movie is all like I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes of like the insanely romantic love story between Toro and Elena. Like just, I mean, when I was 16, a 16-year-old me, first off, Marco Leonardi, who was in
Like Water for Chocolate,
who, oh my God, he's so attractive in this movie. I mean, you got the floppy hair, you got I was just beyond. It was beyond. I was just everything. And he liked movies. I mean, he was like the perfect guy. And even though he was like honestly the most attractive guy in the school, he had no idea. And he was so nervous around Elena and like the fact that he just stood in one scene, he stood outside her door. And I was only human at 16. That to me was like, that's what I wanted, you know?
Wow. I think it's great that you took a cue from the character Alfredo with the certain snips, but the snips that you had was just that 45 minutes of the movie where it's just like this amazing romance blossoming.
Right. And the kids stuff was really fun. I mean, I really enjoyed this movie. Like, I mean, I enjoyed it this time too. Like it's a very pretty movie. I mean, it's cinematically really like neat. It takes place in, post-war Italy, trying to rebuild, and it basically centers around this, it's a small village with characters, village characters and sort of a sense of community. There's definitely a lot more like, casual child abuse than I recalled. But
yeah, that wasn't the best.
That wasn't the best. I didn't enjoy that much. But luckily, so one of the ways that it opens, there's these cute little clever things too. Like there's basically the screener, the priest screens movies, and then basically any kissing scenes, he has them clip. And
not just kissing though, but just like anything that's just unacceptable.
Right. And any sensuality at all. And another great thing about the movie is that you get these little scenes of kind of fantastic, 50s Italian and, American and French cinema. And at one point at the end of the movie, so basically Toto becomes this this little boy whose father is basically not come back from the war and won't. So it's actually takes place not, really, really, really barely post-war, like Italy, or Sicily, and he basically makes a nuisance of himself, but somehow ingratiates himself into this projectionist's life and into the projection booth, and basically ends up taking over for him after there's a fire where he tries to rescue Alfredo, the projectionist, and ends up basically taking over. But Alfredo is always like, this is not your life. This is a temporary, you need to go. And he ends up going to Rome, but you need to go and you need to do big things. This is not, I don't want your life to be, I don't want you to be a projectionist in this small town. And
kind of beautiful what he says is that I don't want to hear from you. I want to hear about you.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah. And honestly, Alfredo didn't have any children, and you never really find out why, and it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal, but he sort of grudgingly, actually as part of a deal, he helps him on an exam, so it seems like a GED sort of thing. Yeah. That Alfredo ends up having to take at the same time, and he basically helps him cheat. And says, in return for this, you need to let me into the
projection room.
Let me into the projection room and teach me what you know. And so, and the kisses. It's funny. So at some point in the kisses, there's this really lovely scene at the end where Alfredo he keeps his promise and he never comes back.
Toto
never comes back, yeah. And then Alfredo basically dies, so he comes back for his funeral, and he gets this reel, and it's all the kisses from years and years of movies
that he had to flip out.
Yeah, because basically he tries to put them back in when he sends them back to the distribution company, but sometimes he just doesn't. And so it makes you wonder, did he start saving the best ones for Toto?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, that's the film for me. It's just a kind of a romantic fantasy. And yeah. So how about you? How was your experience with it?
It was, like I said, it was, I wasn't sure what to expect. So as much as I, was watching it, again, holy crap, we're 45 minutes in, something needs to happen that's podcast related in some way, shape, or form. Right. Polina, if this movie is a metaphor for a relationship between, a man and his projectioner, not projectioner, but projector machine.
Yeah.
Sometimes
the projector machine.
Burned. Yeah, yes. Sometimes you get burned. Sometimes you flow naturally. I don't know. No metaphors. We're not. Well, maybe some metaphors. Not bad.
Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed. The sort of metaphorical thing with it. I have to say, the movie felt a little more contrived than I remember it being.
Well, you're older.
Me. Right.
So I think everything is, depending on how you approach it, it's either going to feel like, oh, well, this isn't what I remembered when it was amazing. And then sometimes you revisit it and I'm just like, oh, this is more poetic than I remember. So
yeah, it's true.
Well, okay. How about this? It's also, Academy Award-winning movie, so clearly it struck a chord with many people.
Yes.
I'm watching it now, many, many years later, and it's still quite lovely. And it's fantastic. But of course I am just kind of, latched onto this amazing relationship between Toto and Alfredo.
Right.
And so for me, it's like watching this blossoming love story between teenagers. To me, that's just I've seen all of these like new Netflix movies coming out, like, To All the Boys I've Loved Before, or what is it, The Perfect Date, or whatever it is that they're called, where it's like the same guys in every single one of them.
Right.
And for me, it's just like, yeah, okay, but I'm also 37 years old, so it's just like, come on, you two crazy kids, kiss. Oh wait, are you legal? I don't know. What am I rooting for? I don't feel good right now. You're in real life, you're like 27, right? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So if anything, in the best case scenario, I can just relive my own teenage foibles of falling in love and, finding love for the first time, or realizing what I thought was just, one thing. It turns out was just a silly, misguided crush that I took too far. And when I say took too far, I don't mean I stayed outside their window for days and days and days. Instead, it was just more like I kept pursuing them, and then when they finally showed attention to me, I turned my back on them and hated them. Normal teenage stuff. Shut up, normal teenage stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It changes. I feel like I still like that part. It was more actually even the kids stuff a little bit that felt a little like, oh, I have to say, I don't know, even just watching the two of them, it just reminded me of that thing when you're a teenager and you have those feelings, and how overwhelming they are, and how like it's just like a force that's unstoppable. You can't use you've kind of literally been driven mad, and the like, just everything is so intense. The kisses, the hand holding, the like being in the same room. Like I really felt like it captured that really well. So, and it reminded me of like doing stupid things for love. And, sneaking out and things like that. But, and just like nothing else seemed to matter. I think that's like amazing. I think it did that really well. But actually, I agree with you. Like this one, I think I remember being charmed by Alfredo, but to me, it was like this time watching it was just the Alfredo show, Like he's such a great, charming, for me, so charming and so like, kind of sort of funny and wise, but also really like sort of joy. He's just somebody who takes a lot of pleasure in life, and I just kind of found him like a really lovely character that's kind of stayed with me.
Oh yeah, kind of like Water for Chocolate. When the first time you watched it, you said like, "Oh, it's all about this," and then when you and I talked about it, it's like, no, this is all about the middle sister. She's the best.
I know, yeah. Like she becomes like a, Zapatista or something. I don't know. She's just like, it's crazy. Yeah, I agree. This one, yeah, it just sort of becomes, and then the mom, I think I don't even remember the mom, or I just thought the mom was like, I just thought the mom, whatever, was like, kind of one-dimensional, but you really see her trying to figure out how long do you wait for somebody before you accept that they're gone.
That's the only downside to Alfredo's advice, is that I understand what he intended with don't get trapped into a place that will keep you from blossoming. But at the same time, it's just like, but never talk to your mom, never talk to your sister.
I mean, he did say like they made it clear at the beginning that he had them visit a lot. Like it's not that he said, "Oh, we always go there." So it's not like they don't speak, but obviously they're not speaking enough, right? And it's before cell phones, so she actually has to like, there's kind of a scene that would like never happen now, which is basically she has all these phone numbers he's obviously a filmmaker, right? So he's flying around all the time. And he, and actually this director, also, made movies in Italy and in the US. So it's like obviously he's, she's calling like 4 or 5 different places, like, they're either his apartments or his offices. Like she has all like a list of phone numbers, which of course now would just be a cell phone. And so it makes sense that you would be like, yeah, why does your mom have to, I thought that too. I was like, oh, why does your mom have to call you in like 18 different places? But actually it's just because there were no cell phones. So there's no like central number that you can reach somebody at.
That was a lost in translation, or actually lost in generation situation where I'm just like, wow, he really doesn't answer his calls. But
right,
no,
yeah.
Just circumstances.
Right. Like, yeah, there's no instantaneous call. So,
thanks for that insight. That actually kind of makes me feel a little bit better about the way he treated his mom and sister.
Yeah. No, I agree. But then even when he comes and then when he comes back, you do see they seem really close. Like they don't seem like, like it's not tense. It feels quite loving.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I definitely, and he says, oh, we've seen each other, So thank God. But he hasn't seen Alfredo.
Yeah.
That's like the crazy thing.
But that's what Alfredo wanted.
Exactly.
So in the end, we can all feel good about that.
Yeah.
Shut up. I can feel good about it.
Yeah. Also, Alfredo never stopped talking about him. And so it seems like he definitely wrote him letters and stuff. So that's my theory. That's my feeling. That's what I've decided.
No, that's good. That's that works out pretty well. Okay. So I guess I want to ask you now that despite the fact on your rewatch, your focus was different, when it comes to Toto and Elena, when did they fall in love?
So I definitely think that I think it was for Toto. I think it definitely was love at first sight. I think
I agree.
Cool. Yeah. He sees her. I mean, that is also what the movie wants you to believe.
Yep.
And I actually think I think for her, maybe it was the third or fourth time, but she just moves there. Like she moves, she's new at school. So she didn't grow up with him. And, I think it's only when so at one point he professes his love for her. And she's like, I don't know. And he said, I will just wait outside your window. And I actually think that's when she falls in love with him, is when he says that.
When he says it.
When he says it. And then but she doesn't really want to admit it to herself because she's like, oh, I'm just going to fall for a line from some guy. And then he like fall like, and then when he actually does it, she, then she's like, oh, I actually see, that he's legit. He legitimately loves me. This isn't just words to get into my, into my skirt.
There's a scene where he sees her arrive and she, he actually films her and he watches it, he's a filmmaker, which by the way, watching that whole bull slaughter.
Oh my God, the bull slaughter. Yeah.
Did not care. And it's also strange that I understand film is precious, but it's just like, hey, bull slaughter, hand to really attractive girl, it's just fascinating.
I mean, I kind of got that as like, oh, he's trying to capture it's kind of a cinema verite sort of thing. Like, let me capture real life. And then of course he's also a 16-year-old, 17-year-old boy and girls.
Yeah. Gotta get the footage for later.
Right.
So, he captures the footage of her, but I think what happens is for him when he decides to run off when he sees her drop something and realizes that there were some other people who have their attention on her as well. And he actually like trips somebody and whacks them. So,
yeah. He's like determined.
Yeah, he is. And after it happened, actually, even in mid-meeting, in mid-sentence, he gets turned around and black eye. So that was actually a really interesting scene, but I thought it was kind of effective is the right word.
Yeah, because you really got his the kind of the sort of he will stop at nothing to be with this woman.
And I think it wasn't literally at love at first recording. I think it was when he decided, I imagine he knows that guy in his group well enough to know that he was risking getting a punch to the face.
Right.
So I think it's when he decided. When he decided to go for it in that way, that was his moment.
Right. Like, it's worth it.
Yep.
It's basically it's like having a being hit is worth it.
Yeah, the swollen face. I don't know if it was bloody, but it was definitely swollen.
Yeah, he had a black eye.
Yep.
And he still looked really, really, really cute with a black eye.
Down, girl. You'll be fine. It's okay. But no, I understand. Okay, so that's for him. And then I think for her, so the days pass. I mean, I was wondering in the montage of the days being crossed off of him being there, was that to imply, because he still had to work. So was it implied he was just there every evening, not every 24, all moments?
Yeah, because he would have gone to school and then gone there in the evening.
So Alfredo had he had planted the idea in his head where it was the soldier who was trying to win the love of the princess, and what did he have to offer? Okay, did I miss it? Like, much like the explanation you gave me, was there any type of resolution to why he was there for, I will be under your balcony for 100 days. This is what the princess is giving to the soldier. Mm-hmm. And when, if you're there for 100 days, then, I will love you or something like that. And then apparently he hung out for, it was more beautifully told, but the soldier hung out for 99 days, and then on the 99th day he left.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I loved that part of the story, because it was basically Alfredo's like, what does it mean? Nobody knows. That's the point of the story. It's like, love is crazy. Like, I love that he wasn't like, love is the most important thing. He's like, love is this, and he says it so much more beautifully, but he basically talks about love is this, force that you have no control over. It sucks. Like, it just takes over your life. And actually, I think when I saw this movie, that is the part that I felt really drawn to, like really resonated with me, because as, I think you were talking about those crazy, those sort of the crushes that you would have, and the like a small thing that you take out of proportion, or just like kind of feast on for a while. I really felt that way. And it's just the sense of like, when you had a really severe crush on somebody when you were younger, it was almost annoying. It was unbearable. It was like an earworm, it just would take over your soul. It was all you could think about, and I, and so like I felt like it captured that feeling really well. Even especially when it was unrequited, like even when it requited or not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. So montage there. I will chime in and say that I think the purpose of that story, it isn't so much the purpose of the story, but what happened on the 99th day, given the detail that Alfredo provided to what the soldier was going through for the love of this woman. I think by the 99th day, it was like, I am destroying myself for her, and there's nothing. So even if she loves me on the next day, I do not love this person who watched me whittle away. Not,
Yeah, because it wasn't like, I mean, it wasn't a like, he wasn't like, I will spend an hour outside of your, every day for 100 days. It was like, I will just sit there for 100 days and there's like snow and rain and cold and like it's like,
yep.
And I kind of felt the same way, and I wasn't sure if I'm just being cynical, because I was like, yeah, that you're like, there is no way she can prove that she loves me the same way.
Mm-hmm.
It's that this is a fiction of my own making. And yeah, if you love someone, you can't watch them. You can't watch them like
right.
suffer. You don't want them to suffer. So like if she really loved him, genuinely loved him, and not just wanted his love, she would have rescued him.
In the best case scenario, he would get to the 100th day and she's like, crap, I owe you.
Yeah. Like, here's some of my fortune.
Yeah. Maybe you should put some weight back on. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so.
Oh shoot.
Yeah.
Did I answer when she fell in love with him?
No.
Oh, okay. I think what I was getting at is kind of re-explaining the whole. What was that, like 4 months? Yeah, that's getting to 100 days. So it ends at New Year's. And, Happy New Year. The window never opened. Toto decided to just give up on his endeavor. And so he goes back to the theater, and then she was there with him. So yeah. I think him actually walking away from her made her wake up that she wasn't in love with him. Because similar to what I was just explaining about how it's just like, crap, I owe him. And so she moved into crap, I owe him, and then she was able to spend some time with them and seeing there was more to just the devotion, but there was just this particular person who was somebody that she wanted to be with.
Right. Who, like, yeah. Because they don't, when he confesses, they haven't spent a lot of time together. I mean, they're in the same school, but it's not like you see them, have a relationship.
I did get nervous when he went into the confessional, and I'm just like, don't pretend to be the priest. Don't do this stupid, like,
I know, thing. I was nervous too.
You're going to get in trouble. Again, did you learn nothing from all the trouble you got into as a little kid?
Right. Yeah. I know, I was really worried about that too.
It's like, confess the people you have crushes on. No, it's just like, hi, it's me. I'm like, okay, good. Whew, okay.
Right. Yeah, I felt the same way. I'm like, oh, please, no.
Don't do that thing.
He didn't.
No, he didn't. Yeah. So that's it's pretty straightforward. I mean, again, this is like the teenage love, so it's very It's very pure, and like it does, just because it's not based in like people's minds that have seen all these different things and had all these different experiences, that doesn't make it less, pure, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it makes it more, I mean, there's something about first love, I think, that's like, I mean, I don't know. It's just different. Like it's that quality of, I mean, I think especially if it's sort of, comes and then, I mean, in my experience, like that kind of like, it comes and then, especially if it goes away, I think. I mean, you guys have been together, for a long time. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't, it's for me, it was an unworkable kind of love, but it was so potent and amazing. I mean, it broke my heart, but it was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, the second half of the story moved into like probably the plot of The Notebook. I don't know. I haven't seen The Notebook. So
no, me neither.
Yeah, it's just my dad has this job and they have money, and it's just like, well, he's just this guy, and then up she's gone.
Right, that's the thing. She leaves. What I suspect is that basically she was going to run away with Toto. They were going to run away together.
Oh, yeah. Wait, was that in the plot and I missed it, or? Yeah,
they were going to run away together. He said, "Meet me tomorrow at the train station," and he waits there, and then he goes. He just goes. And
I
yeah,
thought,
and
I thought
then
he had to join the military.
No, I think no, they go off to he's going to go to Rome
Oh, weird. So I translated all
to
that
start his
as
life, because remember, the war's over. So I don't think they had I think they stopped conscription at that point.
oh, strange. So no, I took it as, hey, I have to go into the military, meet me, and then she never showed up.
Oh, I don't remember it that way. That's funny.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So he yeah, I've been having a hard time focusing, so it could be that I missed it entirely as well. But that's what I remember. Is like, because she said, meet me at this train station tomorrow. We'll go, and she just never shows up. And he finds out later that basically, like, I have a feeling her father found out or something. That's how I've done it, and then was like, that's it, we're leaving.
Wow. So, wow. This little mini movie of yours is so dramatic.
I know. Yeah. Of course.
All right. So the movie itself, like, it's framed, much like Water for Chocolate, where it's, you have this flashback and you get to see all that happened in Toto's life. And so he comes back for the funeral. When the theater caught fire and Alfredo his life was in danger, I'm just like, well, there's a funeral because he just died 30 years from the point of where we are in the movie. So I guess it'll be okay. So that made me feel better. But, so we're flashing back to that. And, I guess what I'm getting at is that the movie gives us so much more detail into what happened. Toto is this filmmaker, but how do we answer the question, what happens next?
Yeah, that's a hard one, because basically you see Alfredo, 30 years later, and you're like,
he's in the casket, so.
I'm sorry, not Alfredo. I'm sorry, Toro. 30 years later, yeah, and he comes back for Alfredo's funeral, and also they demolish the theater.
Oh yeah,
and which is like everyone in the village cries. It's a really intense kind of moment, and especially, like watching it these days, just because you think about all the things around you that you rely on that may not be there, or may not be able to survive this. So, like, I found that a very emotional moment.
Sure.
And but it's really a difficult question to answer, because basically they become clear that they sort of, the mother comments on how he has a different woman. Every time he answers the phone, she's like, I wish you'd found love in somebody, to live love with, to really share your life with. And so it's clear that him and Elena, never see each other again, from the point of view of this. Or to me, it seemed clear.
Right.
So,
and in fact, when the movie opens, a woman tells Toto about the message that was left by his mother. So that's how he finds out how the funeral happened. And I'm just like, is that Elena?
I know.
I can't tell.
And her hair is very red. So I'm like, okay, they're trying to definitely make a, distinction. And then at one point, she says that her mother thinks she was somebody else, and she just decides to play along, so it's clear that, like, it's somebody new.
That's okay. Again, I'm getting clarity for this as well, because the mother says to Toto later on, it's just like, I can hear all these different women, but at the same time, none of them have that voice. And I'm like, aw.
Yeah, or none of them sound like they're in love with you.
Okay, well, when you put it that way,
they love you.
mean.
That they love you. That they love you, and I would know, like, really, and I think what she means is not like that they are infatuated with you, but that they are in, they're in love with you. You're the one.
Back off, Mom. They're hot.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, fine, that's fine. That's okay. It's working for me. I'm flying around. I'm having a good life.
I
Like, he
didn't say
doesn't
you
seem
get
to,
remarried.
right. He's not like unhappy, like he doesn't strike, I don't know. It doesn't, and granted, they don't spend a lot of time with him, but to me, the movie doesn't present that he is just, unhappy in love, that
Right.
he doesn't, he's like, well, this is my situation. Like, it just didn't happen for me.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Well,
I didn't want it to happen. I don't know.
Well, he's very successful, so there's no doubting that on the, business side of it.
Yeah. But it's not like he's like, oh, I wish I had,
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't come into it. Most of the memories, I think, are, obviously of, of Elena, but also of Alfredo.
Yeah. Would you think that because of Alfredo's death, there would be something coming, do you think that Toto would do something after coming back from the funeral based off of, your own thoughts or
right?
Anything like that?
I think so. I actually think he reaches out to Elena.
Okay.
Like, he tries to track her down.
Okay.
And I think that he does it off and on for a few years, but I think that when she does, I think she has her own life. I don't think that, they meet up. Well, I would love to imagine a world in which, they meet up, or I don't know. But just like, I think that when they meet up, it's really sweet, and maybe even, she's traveling for work. Maybe they, have a kind of a lovely, long dinner and reminisce about old times. But I think, maybe they even, sort of something happens, but I think it's a short-lived thing. And I think he kind of does this woman in every port thing, successfully throughout the rest of his life. That's my theory.
Okay. I briefly considered, have you ever heard of the movie Letters to Juliet? It's Amanda Seyfried, and she's in Italy, and she is with her fiance, and then there's this whole thing. There's a subplot involving this older woman who writes a letter to Juliet, and there's this society of women who answers on behalf of, like, Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, like Romeo and Juliet, yeah. I wasn't sure. I was like, is it like a version of Juliet Naked, which is a Nick Hornby novel, but they made a movie of that, and it wasn't called...
So it's the sequel to Juliet Naked, Dear Juliet, yes. Put some clothes on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. So there's a subplot involving this woman who talked about the love of her life when she was younger, and Amanda Seyfried decides that she's going to contact her and she's going to try to help her find, and then it becomes this whole thing. And what's kind of amazing is that these people who missed their opportunity, but spoiler for Letters to Juliet. Mm-hmm. Spoiler, they find each other. He's a widower. She's a widow, and they, decide to rekindle their love. And it's this, really, really sweet thing because it's in the land of, romance world. I briefly consider that whole thing. I mean, now granted, these characters are like older, like they have grandchildren, that kind of thing. But after watching the end, and seeing that, it's so funny, the kissing montage film reel, and watching Toto just react to it, I actually decided to change my mind and decide that looking at this compilation put together and really looking at the life that he left behind, and really looking at Alfredo's attempt to make sure that Toto became as big as he possibly could be without being shackled to a small town, I think that he decides that part of that would be trying to revisit his first love. And that would just be kind of disrespecting what Alfredo had tried for him to be. And so he's crying because he thinks about the relationship of this father figure and just has this wonderful feeling of the life that he got to have because of this man. And instead, Elena is just not even in his brain. So it's just there. It's just he has this moment. He comes back from this funeral. He takes solace in knowing that he had this man in his life and continues to live his life, not with the whole like, oh, my romance life is just so shattered, but instead it's just like, I have this life and I'm going to live it to honor this man.
I think that's really sweet. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, Alfredo kicked ass, man. I'm just gonna say it.
I know. I love Alfredo. Maybe Toro opens a film school or something, or sponsors a theater, or does something so that he can figure out how to. And he may already do that, like because the projectionist, I don't know. He seems. He may already be that may be what he does is like he wants to give younger filmmakers a leg up. So I shouldn't assume that he doesn't, but maybe he does. Oh well, that was nice. I'm glad. It was a sweet movie, and it's
excellent movie.
A good movie also about loving movies. It's very sweet. So definitely if you are not in a mood for that sort of level of sweetness, think carefully. So,
I'd like to start a list right now. So now we've got Marco Leonardi as a 2-episode situation up there with Julian Sands.
Yeah, Julian Sands was a big one. There's a character. It's not Stanley Tucci. There's one character actor who was like in every movie. We had a run of Tooch. I feel like we're like there was some background Tooch in a lot of movies for a while. Oh
yeah, I mean you can go with It Could Happen to You and America's Sweethearts and coming soon Beethoven. I don't know what else do you want to do Stanley Tucci wise? I
don't know. Just a lot of Tooch. I miss the Tooch.
Well, that's just good times right there.
Yeah, there's always good times. So
well, do me a favor. Don't lead the people astray and think that we're going on a Tooch run.
No, we're not. Sadly.
I mean, that's something that we'd have to plan very well, and then we'll go through his list of movies, and it's just like, oh, we're out of movies. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So wipe that from your memory, listeners. Thank you, and please.
So what should we go on, or what are we going to go over a run for?
Well, right now, I think what we need to do is run for something that will relax us.
Yes, I agree. And actually, I have been, I think a lot of us are having to work at home a little more and just be at home a little more. I have been using actually Frankie and Myrrh sprays to sort of transition from the spaces in my house that have now become 2 workspaces that we need to accommodate 2 workspaces where we didn't before. I've been using like Frankie and Myrrh room spray to sort of mark the delineation between like. The kitchen is now not work zone. I put away my I put away the work product, and I do a little spritz, and I am like, now I'm in home life. I've been using Spray the Bitch Away a lot for that, and also Hello Sunshine, which has been really lovely. Spray the Bitch Away, spray away my work.
I didn't want to comment, but at the same time, you just did, so my work is done.
It's not because I work with bitches. I work with some amazing people. They're really lovely, and it's been a real gift to be able to try to support teachers during a time where they have had to work really differently. Shout out to OER Commons, and if you're a teacher, hit me up. I mean, I can send you some resources.
I mean, no, I think the implication is that the bitch that you're spraying away is the you that needs to stop working.
Yes, because I am also kind of bitchy at work, so maybe. Yeah, yes, the bitch is me. The bitch is coming from inside the house.
Oh, yeah. So if my
Yeah.
favorite bitch wanted to save some extra money on Frankie and Mer purchase,
and you wanted to support your favorite bitches, you
hey, I'm not.
would.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah. You should go to Frankie and Myrrh, FRANKIE and MYRRH, and if you enter the promo code happily1, that is
HAPPILY and the number 1.
That's it. You will get 20% off your entire purchase, which is really nice right now. And you're supporting some really cool people. And it will be delivered to your door in beautiful packaging, and that will delight you. And you'll have lots of fun surprises. And we all need fun surprises right now. And if you... even if you decide not to use your promo code, which, I mean, come on, you're going to want to use the promo code. 20% is a lot of money. You can get free shipping on domestic shipping or shipping in the U.S. for $40. Anything over $40 is free shipping, even if you don't use the promo code. So I would run to Frankie and Mer right now and order yourself some good stuff.
All these things that we're using. Yeah, thank you very much to our sponsor, Frankie and Mer.
Yeah, amazing aromatherapy. So
we want to know what you think about Cinema Paradiso. So you can contact us on Twitter. We're at HEAMCast.
HEAMCAST.
You can catch us there on Twitter and Instagram at HEAMCast. We are on Facebook at Happily Ever Aftermath. Shout out to the Lady Pod Squad. You can go on social media and check out the hashtag Lady Pod Squad. You can find other lady-run podcasts.
And you got time. Do it. There's some really great stuff. I endorse women. Meg has been on this podcast, and I've been listening to that a little more, because we have time. So it's been great. I love hearing those ladies in my ear.
Special shout out to Indoors Women. And so next time.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
What is the next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about 1995's Clueless. So you got Alicia Silverstone and Baby Paul Rudd.
Baby Paul Rudd.
Yeah. So, and people keep saying that Paul Rudd doesn't age, but watching him in this movie, and then we will see that he has aged, but he still looks fantastic. People.
He just is. Yeah, I think the thing to realize is he's aged damn well.
Absolutely. So we should all strive.
Yes, we should all strive to age that well.
Okay. All right. So next time we'll be talking about that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. And stay safe and, be kind. Take care. Bye-bye.